Hello viewers, and welcome to another day of Sea Otter Classic 2025. And it's a good place to see the trends that are coming down the pipeline from the bike industry. Can you tell me who you are and where you're from?
Yeah, Ben Jurgensen from Providence, Rhode Island.
And this is your creation, this bike here?
Yep, so the company is July, and this is a tribute to the Paris-Galiber, a bike from the 40s.
And you've handmade it yourself? Is that the...
Yep, fully custom carbon, so everything's made using 3D printed molds. The main tubes are filament wound on a 3-axis filament winder, and some of the lugs are pre-cast junctions, and then the remainder of the frame is bonded using tube-to-tube construction.
Was it an easy frame to make, or was it very complex and challenging to...
It's a pretty complex frame to make, yeah. A lot of additional fixturing. The double top tube was pretty tricky, as was the split seat tube.
And have you ridden it? How's it ride?
I have. It rides great. I was a little bit worried
in
making it, but I'm really happy with the way it rides.
Does it ride like a normal bike, or does it have any quirks? Or
no, it does. It's very comfortable to ride. It's I was worried it was going to be a little bit too flexible, but I think I overcame that with the carbon, and it's in a pretty good sweet spot.
And do you make normal frames as well?
I do.
Okay.
Yep. I only make about 4 or 5 frames a year.
Okay. All carbon?
All carbon.
Okay. So you have a day job, it's not your main...
Yeah, day job. I teach art.
Okay. Oh, cool. So how many hours did that take you to build then? Is it quite labor intensive?
Quite labor intensive. Honestly, I don't know the hours. It's kind of a nights and weekends project.
Okay.
And it's something I've been working on for, a few months on and off.
Well, yeah, cool bike. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, yeah.
So that's a nice bike. What's the story behind this bike today?
Thanks very much. So this is our 51 Sika, which we launched here last year, you might recall, in the Black Ops color. This is the second colorway here. This is the Interstellar White. So it's a beautiful metallic with a pearl clear coat over the top and a beautiful dark blue logo as well. So it's simply a second colorway. Platform remains the same. So when we launched it last year, we used the tagline that it's a race bike for real people. So it's got a realistic stack height on the front. Clearance for 40mm tyres, T47, the new UDH dropout as well, 27.2 seat posts. So it ticks a lot of boxes rather for I think everyday users.
Given it's been out for a year, what's the reception to the bike been like? Do people get the bike in terms of tyre clearance and the geometry?
Yeah, absolutely. The reception's been fantastic, and thank you for your content. We've put it out to a lot of independent journalists, and that can make or break a model. I'm very thankful to say that it's really it's helped make this. So it's been very well received.
And given it's got space for 40mm wide tyres, are people fitting wide tyres, or are they sticking to 30, 32s?
So what we find is people are trading up from a 25 or possibly a 28, and they're maybe comfortable to go to 32, and we're kind of edging them on. You should probably go 34, 35. Anyone that does is not regretting it. Nobody's going back down. There are some people that, in fairness, if you're coming off a 25 and we're talking about 35, that's a lot to take on. I think they'll get there in the end, but just to know that the versatility and the capacity is there is a comfort.
And it's future-proofed in a way, isn't it?
Absolutely.
With tyre width, you kind of baby steps to 32, 34, 36. You don't go from 25 to 35, do you?
Exactly. I'm eager. I mean, I know you've been doing some testing. A lot of the guys have been doing some testing with up to 40mm. I'm not quite sure where that pendulum is going to, where it's going to stop. But we've got people here riding the gravel event on it as well, which is not exactly what it was intended for, but it does have that level of versatility.
And talking of gravel, you have a UDH dropout, which now seems fairly on trend, because we're seeing road bikes like Mads Pedersen winning on 1x13. Have you done any 1x13 builds on this yet with the Explore group?
Directly, no, but some of our clients have. I mean, we originally adopted it, again, just for ease of use, that if you're traveling with the bike and you find yourself in San Francisco or in Bali, the chances of picking up a UDH to ride are going to be a lot more easier. It's just one of those things that we shouldn't waste our time designing a proprietary dropout. The world does not need another dropout standard. So we definitely welcome it for that reason alone.
So I found James from Tailfin. what's a tech trend or product you're most excited about for that isn't Tailfin branded this year?
In terms of mountain bikes, I'm definitely excited about the new tyres that are coming out. In terms of, like, I really like fast rolling tyres, but the problem is, like, a lot of the time they tend to be either like too light or just not capable enough. But there's a lot more like faster rolling tyres now that still you can ride proper trails on. It's a big thing.
The downcountry tyre.
Yeah, we don't like saying that word anymore, do we? It's like,
Sorry guys, I'll edit that out.
Yeah,
What's it now then?
An actual trail, like just a mountain bike tyre. A mountain bike tyre.
Yeah,
it takes us back to the time when, like, the Tioga Psycho 2, or everyone rode like the same tyre. It's kind of what you want. I know, it's really, that's a long time ago. But yeah, that's for me personally, I think I just want to have fast tyres.
And what about on the drop bar side?
Drop bar sides? I think what I would like to see is bars get wider again.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's possibly not happening, but like, especially like sort of with gravel and like sort of fast gravel, I think we're going a bit too far.
And get flatter as well, maybe, or just stay curly?
Stay curly. Stay curly.
Curly
like,
forever,
don't start turning a gravel bike back into a mountain bike.
But that's happening though, isn't it?
It is.
With the tyres.
Yeah, like this
Mountain bike tyres and the gravel bike.
I don't like going back to the old school. Like, it is basically mountain biking for me was like that rigid sort of style, and I was sort of seeing gravel bikes going that way. And you sort of go, let's just keep a bit of separation. If you want to have fun, get yourself a proper mountain bike.
So I'm here with Zach from Blackheart. Is there a tech trend or product you're most excited about?
I've seen some developments in internal gearboxes.
Okay.
And I think for gravel, it would be great, obviously, for durability and longevity. I think in mountain biking, it could be really exciting because you remove the weight from the rear axle. So I would love to see an efficient internal gearbox.
It does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Especially riding off-road, you've got the rear derailleur. As good as that new UDH is, it's still a fragile element that can break. So having it all in the frame and the gearbox makes a lot of sense.
I think so.
And would you make a bike around a system if there was one on the market?
100%. It's designed in my head. I just need the gearbox to stick in it, and I'm not smart enough to make one myself.
We're just waiting for the gearbox manufacturers to step up and
they can consider this a challenge.
I like it. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Can you give me a tech trend or product you're most excited about?
I think what's getting me really exciting lately is actually finding the right tire for customers. I think there's endless options out there. They're all amazing, but finding the right pattern, the right tire size is one of the key things that I've seen that makes such a big difference on the riding you do. So, I mean, we're all obsessed with, finding the biggest tire, but sometimes it is not even about the biggest tire, it's finding the exact thread, finding the exact PSI you should be running. And I think those are, I really love stuff that is very easy to tweak on a bike, very inexpensive, but that makes a huge difference. And I find that tires are exactly that. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy talking about and finding out from the other manufacturers around.
Are you happy to name your favourite personal tyre moment or width or tread pattern, or do you have lots of favourites?
I think I have lots of favorites. On my mountain bike, I use the Mescal Race 2.4s. I think it does like my everyday riding, nothing too gnarly, nothing not only paved, so it's kind of a perfect in between for me. And I've been testing these Vittoria tires that are the Tirreno on their new version 45C, and they just do it for me. Like on everyday situations, they have enough grip, they have enough everything, and they roll fast enough. So I really enjoy those. On my road bike, I use the Vittoria NXTs, bomb-proof but subtle. So that's all I do on everyday riding. I ride 30Cs, and that's what I love on my disc brake bike.
So can you tell me your name and where you're from, please?
Francois. I'm from San Jose, California.
And is there a tech trend or product you're really excited about this year?
Do long rides, so for me it's the wider tires and either tubeless or TPU tubes.
How wide are we talking then for your tyres?
On some of my bikes I'm doing 40 mil.
Okay.
The road bike I try to fit in 34. So supposedly clearance for 32, but 34 gets in there.
And you think you go wider in the future? Or is that as wide as you need to go for your roads?
I think that's about as wide as I like. Much bigger for me, it's just a little slower.
Okay.
The comfort level, marginal difference. So.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
So we've seen the popularity of 3D printed saddles. Lots of brands are now doing them. More brands are doing them this year.
Yeah.
But Fizik were one of the first. how popular has this technology been for you, and how important has it been to launch
Yeah.
that technology into the
Yeah.
saddle range?
It's been huge. It's almost been a problem in some cases, being that we do still make foam saddles, but now this has kind of become almost more popular. Of course, it's definitely a bit sexier, a bit more premium, and still for some people it's new, although it's been out for some years now. But with the standard foam saddle, we're still achieving an excellent product, right? But it is one density of foam throughout. So the idea of tailoring it to work for different types of positions and different riders, we cannot achieve the same way that we can with 3D printed saddles. So fine-tuning different areas of the saddle to function the way you need that part of the saddle to function. So softer where you need that relief, and a bit harder where you need that support. We can only achieve that with 3D printed. This version, this is a standard 3D printed version. This is the best combination of zones, but the custom is another level. So custom takes it even further. This is something where we can tailor the finest of details to the specific rider's imbalances or riding position. For example, I spend a lot of time at the nose, so it's a bit softer up there. And then I have a little bit more density in the rear, just to balance my connection to the saddle, increasing the amount of surface area that I'm connecting with, right? But yeah, these are huge for us.
Do you see a future where all your saddles, even like cheaper saddles, are 3D printed?
No.
Because if they're better, they're going to be better for everybody, regardless of the price
Absolutely.
point. I know the price is coming down, but it's still an expensive technology.
Yeah, we
But-
still keep it premium positioned.
Okay.
That's why we actually do not make, so within our saddles, we have different shapes, right? But within each shape, we have different price points. That's gonna come from material type. The material type so if we have 4 different price points, the material type on the entry, mid, and mid-high, they have the same shell, we're just changing the rail. So alloy rail, tubular construction alloy rail, carbon rail, and then 00 is a full carbon rail and shell. For 3D printed, we're only making it in R3, R1, and 00, so not the R5, no standard alloy. Only tubular construction alloy, carbon rail, and then the full carbon rail and shell. We see that as being the presence for a premium 3D printed saddle. Whereas on the entry level stuff, as of right now, and for some time, we're gonna keep it with EVA foam as a standard. Price point wise, this is the only way we can achieve those price points. We are bringing a new saddle, working on a new saddle that is a combination of our 00, which is the exposed EVA, so it does not have a cover on it. It's currently made in the highest price point, the 00, but we're making a combination of the R1 shell and rail with that 00 upper on it, the exposed EVA. So that's kind of a premium price upper that we're bringing to a lower price point by adjusting the shell that it's on.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's
Absolutely.
Nice inside tip. Cool. Can you start by telling me who you are and what you do, please?
Yeah, great. Hi, I'm Sean. I'm with WTB. We're here at Sea Otter. I am the product designer for saddles and grips with WTB.
And we have 3 new saddles to talk about today.
We do.
What's the story behind them? What's the purpose of these saddles? What are you trying to achieve with them, I guess?
Yep. First, starting off with the Solano. The Solano is a multi-purpose saddle, great for all kinds of riding. It's 240 millimeters long. We have 2 different widths, 142 and 157, so medium and wide. The purpose of the saddle is really a great saddle for riders who like to sit a little bit more longer term, like 3 to 4 hour rides. They get their sit bones planted, and it gives the shape of the saddle, gives them the freedom to tilt their pelvis back and forth. The shorter length nose doesn't get in the way, crushed perineum. We have lots of good freedom of movement around the saddle. The tapered back allows you, once you drop the saddle, to get around, move around the saddle. So it's really good in all kinds of situations. The next saddle, it uses the same base, which is the Solano SL, and this one's the super light version. So this is a little bit thinner. It's 4 millimeters thinner through the padding in sit bone, 2 millimeters thinner through here. So there's a light. This saddle is designed for like the shorter, hard, more intense race type efforts. The riders like to go out for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and sprint towards the stop signs, or giving a really hard effort up the hill. That's where this one really excels. It's also one of the lightest saddles we make. Third saddle is the Rocket. This one actually is kind of the other end of the spectrum. This one is thicker padding, especially right in through where the sit bones are. The shape of it is contoured so that we've got a little bit of kick up in the back, and it's actually, if we take a look at the cutaway here, the way the base is curved up and through here provides a cradle or a pocket to sit in. So when you are giving that hard effort up a steep climb, especially maybe you're on an e-mountain bike and you don't want to get out of the saddle and pedal, you want to sit and spin and let the motor do the work, then that gives you something to push against. The backstop feature gives you something to push against. In addition to that, a lot of times these big bikes are heavier, right? So we've got a hidden handle underneath.
Oh wow, that's clever.
And it's, one of the things we learned from our other bike with our other saddle with a handle on it was that the saddle got really long and got into the way of some of the tire movements, and especially in full compression of the suspension. So I was able to redesign it and bring the handle up underneath. Gives it a good feature there, but it's, again, thicker padding. This rider tends to stay seated a lot longer than maybe the rider on the Solano. They tend to sit, and then they're going for long days. Maybe they're not wearing a chamois, so it's just a lot more comfortable in that situation.
Are these for road, gravel, and mountain bike? You can mix and match?
Yes.
A saddle doesn't have to be mountain bike or gravel or road, because some companies take that approach. It's a road saddle, it's a gravel saddle.
There are some reasons that you might want to get a different saddle for a different environment, but at the core, your pelvis doesn't know what's under your tires.
Good point, yeah.
It wants to know where's the interaction there.
Yes.
So sometimes you have situations where, like on a road bike, you might have a lot of front end pressure because your handlebars are much lower, so you might want a different shaped saddle than, say, an e-mountain bike where now the front end is up much higher and your weight is shifted much farther back. So that could influence. But generally, my preference is, once you find a saddle that works, run that saddle, because that's your magic saddle, right? That's the one that's going to work for you. But yeah, I think, you can have certainly with the Solano, and I know lots of people that run, our Gravelier saddle on mountain bikes. It's really match your pelvis to your saddle first, and then take considerations as to what your intended usages are.
Is it quite complex designing a saddle? I mean, quite a problem-solving thing, isn't it, making a saddle? Is a key contact point.
Yes.
I have no idea where you start, to be honest. I mean, where do you start to making a saddle? What's the starting point for?
For me, the starting point is identifying which rider I'm trying to work with,
okay.
Right? And I'm looking at not just intended use, but also what is this rider's flexibility, stability. So I think in terms of how is this rider, what problems is this rider coming across, and what problems do I want to solve with this this saddle, right? So again, we start looking at one of the things that we've never had at WTB is somebody that's looking more towards a race-oriented saddle. And I don't say this is just for racing, but somebody's putting out harder efforts going, maybe not 5-6 hour rides, but just doing an hour and a half, but they're putting in very intense efforts. It's not something that they want a big squishy saddle, because they're not resting in their saddle very long. Whereas, somebody who is sitting more in the saddle would like a little bit more cushion. When you pedal hard, physics says there's an equal and opposite force, right? So if you're pushing down, there's an opposite force pushing you up, so you don't actually sit on the saddle very hard. So that was, looking at for like the Solano SL, we're looking for a saddle that, I want it not just light and thin, but how does this complement what that rider is doing in terms of what their effort levels are, what their flexibility is. So when you think about the Solanos and the Rocket, they're flatter profile here, allowing the rider to tilt their pelvis back and forth, where one of our other great saddles is, the Volt, where that's more of a cradling effect, and that rider doesn't necessarily have the flexibility and stability to hold that forward tilted position. Both are great, it's just a matter of what that rider looks like and what they're going for.
Okay, cool. And they're available now in shops?
Yes. Yep.
Cool.